Try men's souls. Over the course of our nation's history, the people of America have rallied bravely whenever the rights of men have been threatened. Today, a new crisis has arisen. The massively retarded NPC Armageddon, or the mRNA, has been pushed as a burdensome vax on the population under the guise of COOF transmission reduction. Citizens, hear me out. This could happen to you. Well, let me tell you a story of a man named Fauci on a tragic and fateful day. He put millions in his pocket and with Pfizer and Moderna filled the whole world with mRNA. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. What a pity. Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. Now all day long, Tony lied on TV stations saying science is run by me. We can't afford even 1 grandma dying. Say goodbye to your autonomy. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. Good old Fauci, Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. They bought all the media, they locked Wikipedia, they fired you for thinking straight. Such a blatant conspiracy, they called you delirious, the cult of mRNA. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. Shame and scandal, Pfizer lied. They tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. All the NPCs lined up at vaccine stations, proudly playing Big Pharma's game. And when you're through, they'll give you 1 more booster. Now you'll never get off of that train. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. No excuses, Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. Tony Fauci will go down as pure abomination with the pussies who pushed it too. Don't forget who was complacent, calling rape immunization. No more refunds, your taxes due. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. It's psychotic, Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. Oh, you denizens of Earth, don't you think it's a scandal how they gambled your lives away? Just keep clicking boots and lying, vote for pedos like Joe Biden till you're dying for mRNA. Well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work. And our fate is still unlearned. We all warned you, Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. It's getting tough to ignore. There's more people dying. Stop denying there's something wrong. And when at last this house of cards collapses, take my hand and let's sing this song. Well, did that that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work, and our fate is still unlearned. Plain germ theory, Pfizer lied. We tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did work. Oh well, did that jab ever work? Oh no, it never did work, and our fate is still unlearned. Pfizer lied, we tried to fly the speed of science. It's the jab that never did, jab that never did. It's the jab that never did work.
Good evening. Happy Halloween, my pals and gals. Holy Smoking Pipe Padre coming at you with a special Halloween video. But first, I need to turn off all my announcements because I'm going to get bugged. Because I just sent out a little video. What the heck? What the heck happened there, pipe pals? I lit my pipe and... Gotta love it. Okay. So, le housekeeping. We are smoking the inimitable Robert Burns Macaulay freehand, Danish freehand pipe. One of my favorite pipes, lads and lassies. I call this sometimes my Halloweeny pipe or my October pipe. I just love this pipe. And in it I'm smoking. Now, I thought about, I don't think this is an unopened tin of Blood Red Moon. Pretty appropriate maybe for tonight. I'm drinking also a little bit of coffee at my elbow, and I've got some wolves. Minnesota Timberwolves. No, not really, they're losers. But these are real wolves, okay? Yeah, okay. And so, but I am smoking another round of Sillums, good old silly Sillums for the Halloween kind of ambiance, if you will. Yeah. Okay. So there we are. So I'm wishing all of you a very safe and sane Halloween, All Hallows Eve. Yeah. So I want to get a little sip of coffee here. Dusk is falling outside. So I'm, that's really good. It's butterscotch toffee. 'Tis a good Scottish drink, you know. That was good. That really. Boy, that, my goodness. Every now and then, you know, you get something just is like, I don't know what that is right now. My goodness, is that good. I think it was the butterscotch toffee, unless somebody was kind of messing around and threw in kind of like, you know, we used to call the remnants of all the little pipe tobacco tins. You know, I think I have a video out there somewhere called Frankenstein Blend, you know, and it's made up of all of the little tidbits of pipe tins, different flavors, different characters, whether they're Cavendish or they're English or they're Scottish or they're, you know, Borkham Riff, maybe, I don't know. Carter Hall. I mean, all these blends that just have little dibs and dabs, and you kind of throw them into a little jar and you shake it up and maybe you humidify it, whatever, and then you if you're brave enough, sometimes you pull out the old Frankenstein blend and you have a go. Yeah. But tonight, I don't know if somebody added something to the tin that I had of Scottish butterscotch toffee, but it's got that kind of burnt toffee flavor. No, it only works when you do a little hit on the pipe. Interestingly enough, interesting. Have I discovered a true pairing? Oh, whatever it was, the first 2 pulls I had on that, it's kind of gone now. It's kind of tamed down, but there was this really flavorful burnt toffee flavor to it. Kind of perfect for the Ember Day type feeling of, Halloween and autumn and, darkness coming upon the land, time for ghost stories and or interesting stories of yore, of yesteryear, So anyway, but there you go. I kind of waxing a little bit lyrical here in my old age, in my dotage. So, well, anyway, happy Halloween to every single one of you. I gotta say, I really like most of your costumes. I see Gary came as a gentleman scholar tonight, so that's a really awesome costume. You look just like him, let me tell you. You look just like the gentleman scholar. Yeah, you do. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. Got a little bit of a wispiness to this pipe, a little bit of, sounds like it's got a little bit of bronchitis or something. But anyway, so I hope you're doing well. I try to do a little annual kind of, it's just in keeping with the season, a little Halloweeny flavor to the video, little maybe special effects and goofy things like that. I've tried different things over the years, and I've kind of, I just kind of, I don't know if, to be honest with you, I'm just making this video. I'm just, it's like I said, it's about a little bit after 6 in the evening. We had a little bit of dusting of snow, our first dusting of snow, and this is the 3rd year in a row that I've been here. And usually the last 2 weeks, middle of October, last part of October, we'll get our first dusting of snow, and we got that on Saturday. So we're still, kind of, well, it pretty much is all melted now, but it's a forebearer of things yet to come. So we know that winter is just around the corner, so we'll probably get another dusting in another week or so. And it can get pretty serious around, in November time frame, and then of course December and January and February, that's when we get the brunt of the winter weather. So there you have it. So anyway, so I have, oh man, been just busy with all sorts of parish activities. We just got some new lighting. I mean, it's not like anything spectacularly, kind of in-your-face kind of lighting, but it is new, it's brighter lighting, and I'm hoping that people can read by the lights now. Had several people comment that they noticed, without it being too over the top, too in your face, like, went from kind of a semi dark, not dark, but dim kind of a church to significantly brighter. Again, without it really being like, harsh fluorescent light. It still retains the beauty. We have lots of wood in the church, so I think what it does is it kind of makes some of the wood surfaces glow a little bit more, and it gives more reading light. And then we're going to be working, hopefully this week or next week, on sanctuary lighting to kind of get that up to par, because before this new lighting in the church, maybe we'll throw some videos up here if I haven't already, the lighting was the brightest in the sanctuary. Now the brightest lighting is in the nave, the general area, the general population where people sit, the church, and now the sanctuary is a bit on the dim side. So we've got to kind of at least bring the older fluorescent track lights up on par with the new church lights. So, but my friend assures me we can do that. We've also been able to light up the outside stained glass at night, so when it turns dark we can turn on the lights, and the lights, the stained glass, won't look like just black panels in the church. They will be illuminated. So I think that's going to be really lovely when we do nighttime services. The fall change happens in a couple of weeks, and so the church it'll all be dark, and we also have some new outside lighting. So we got we got more lighting coming, but right now the majority of it has been installed, and it's looking really good. Let's see. The other thing is we had problems with our furnace. I'm sure a lot of you are probably bored out of your gourd listening to all this, but our furnace was kind of we had a lot of the old ducts were those kind of plastic kind of ducts, and we had a lot of little, whether they're mice or rats or chipmunks or all the above, kind of nesting in there, and most of the hot air was kind of going into the ground underneath the church. So the church still would get warm, but you'd have to turn the heater on about 3 hours in advance before it would really get the church nice and warm. So now it takes about maybe 35 minutes, maybe not even that, to get the church, nice and warm. So, and that's pretty nice. So that's another thing. Looking forward to getting the doors finished. We have these beautiful, they used to be the original outside doors, 100 years ago. And then about in the 1980s, they built a covered awning, and then they basically turned it into a true entrance back in the 80s. And it's nice, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but the doors, the original doors, it became kind of like the inside doors to the sanctuary or to the main church. So when they're gone, which they are now, the cold will kind of create a draft from the outside doors now, and just it hasn't been. I was thinking it was going to be a lot more noticeable this weekend, but it really wasn't. People said that they were warm and comfortable anyway, so that's a good thing. So that was good. So anyway, just getting ready for the winter. Okay. So I think I talked a little bit about the Sillams blends last video, and they have a green, I think, which is a coconut flavor, believe it or not, and a red, which is, I think, can't remember. Maybe the red is kind of maybe the red's the coconut. I can't remember now. And the green was some other kind of a strange flavor. And they're interesting flavors, and you can definitely taste the flavor or the topping or whatever it is, and they're interesting. I mean, they're not the Sillams itself. The Sillams Black is the classic, and that's the one I really love, and especially this time of year, especially for fall and Halloween and You know, it kind of has that. To me, it always looked like it was something like this was something from Count Dracula. More Wolfbane, Van Helsing. More powerful than Wolfbane, Count. Okay. So, anyway, yeah. Let's see. You know, normally I have a lot of things I like to kind of see. It's almost 15 minutes into the video. You know, I know this is sounding a little strange coming from yours truly, but I don't have a lot of topics to talk about anymore, you know? I mean, I guess maybe I'm all played out. I just, you know, feel like I can only talk about, I mean, there's lots of interesting things about pipe smoking, pipe collecting, you know, the tobaccos, you know, and all that stuff that goes with it. You know, we all love to talk about from time to time, you know, pipe acquisition disorder, you know, PAD, and tobacco acquisition disorder. And, you know, it's just that I don't have a lot of opportunities to indulge in my pipe hobby, my little avocation. And so I just, you know, it's just, excuse me. Oh my goodness. It's not something that I kind of feel like I'm doing a Biden here. I'm just kind of rambling. Where's my teleprompter right there? Oh, there it is, you know. Let me wave to everybody. There's nobody there, but I'm waving anyway. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, you know, just kind of sharing stories, or just kind of talking about whatever's kind of been in my craw lately. I think I told everybody last time about how I was suspended on my other YouTube channel for about a week, and I got a strike against me, which I don't like. Oh. Yeah, that looks really nice. Get that glow there. There you go. So anyway, you know, was pretty upset about that, you know, but it is what it is. I've been able to kind of upload again to my other channel, and no problem. But in fact, I haven't checked yet, but you know, apparently I'm like 3 or 4 weeks ahead, and I just made another video tonight. We conclude the liturgical year with the solemn feast, the solemnity of Christ the Sovereign King. Wonderful, wonderful feast day in the life of the church. But basically, you know, trying to get, you know, it's trying to stay out of YouTube jail. It might start becoming a little bit harder for not only me, but a lot of other people. You know, I know I talk a lot about politics, but I think right now even politics is just kind of, it's, I mean, it is what it is, you know. I don't know what the midterms are going to bring. I guess I live in California, so it's kind of a one-party state, and our state is just absolutely just plummeting. People are abandoning, running away. I guess U-Haul sales are kind of funny. There's a whole bunch of U-Hauls in Idaho and Texas and I guess Arizona, but there aren't very many U-Hauls. You can't find a lot of U-Hauls in California because everybody's taken them and moved out of the state. They haven't brought them back. I think there aren't many people that want to come here anymore. It just seems like we are embracing socialism, and unfortunately there's just not a whole lot more. I mean, I have dear friends that literally about a year ago moved out of California, and they went to another, and they're happy. They are absolutely just so glad they moved and got out of this place. And one of them was my age. They moved away. You know, normally you get to a certain point in your life, you realize this is probably where I'm going to end the rest of my days, you know. And, you know, who knows how much longer anybody has, really, but, you know, it's just that, you know, like I said, you get to a certain point and you're kind of, you know, done with politics. And I'll just say this, that, and I knew this like 15, 17 years ago, that, and again, I'm not against at all. I'm not against charity and helping people in need. That is absolutely the Christian values, okay? But social justice is not true charity. Social justice is just open-ended welfare. That's one part of it. And the other part is trying to get retribution on people that you consider are your enemies, you know. And, you know, it's like, oh, I want justice, you know. Well, you know, you look at the people that were abused during the pre-sex abuse scandal. Now, okay, I'll talk about that in just a moment, but let me finish this other thought. Okay, so you look at those people, and unfortunately, and I kind of speak from a little bit of, I have a little bit of personal experience in this issue. That's all I'm going to say, okay? But being close to some of this abuse thing and seeing it not just in the newspapers or on the TV or on the internet, but actually, you know, kind of living in that neighborhood and seeing it up close and personal. The thing is that a lot of people, you know, they really want to blame, and I understand to some extent. I understand the anger and the hatred even that surrounds this whole thing. I get that, okay? Really, I do. But as a person who's had to live through their share of unforgiveness and hatred of people that have wronged you, the thing I found out years ago is that you can choose to hold on to that hatred and anger and bitterness. Yep, you sure can. And you know what? It will consume you, without a doubt. Many people will self-medicate, whether they do it through alcohol, drugs, sex, food, shopping, well, you name it, or serial relationships, or maybe all the above. Oh, isn't that something, pipe bells? Yeah, all the above. You know, social justice does not bring healing, okay? What people, and people think, well, we'll give them a cash settlement. You know, okay, we'll take, you know, $30,000 or, you know, quarter of $1,000,000 or $500,000, and that's going to make me happy. Well, no, it won't. Because what you're really looking for is genuine healing. And it's like I like to say, okay, if you want justice, then blame the individual. If you want money, blame the institution. But if you want real healing, then you have to beg for divine mercy, just like everybody else. And some people hate it when I say that because they think that I don't care about victims or I'm tone deaf to the victims, you know, their plight and everything. Well, no. I'm just, like I said, I told you, I've been really close to this in a personal way. And I know from personal experience that, you know, trying to get revenge and retribution on the individual, that doesn't work. And trying to get, you know, maybe the institution might give you a cash settlement, but that doesn't really work. And the only thing that really, deep down in your soul, you've been wounded. You've been terribly, terribly, terribly wounded. And the only way you get healing is by asking God to help you to forgive. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that message, but I'm going to tell you that's the only message in town that really works. And I've had it happen a couple personal examples where I went through all those stages, and the only thing that ever resolved it 100% was to ask for God's healing in His mercy. And that's just the way it is. I don't know why. In some ways, you might think, well, why doesn't getting retribution against the perpetrator? And I'm not saying the perpetrator should get off scot-free. I'm not saying that at all. Okay, now this gets me back to the other thing. Now, a lot of people in the, I'm just going to say alphabet community, they now want to kind of normalize pedophilia. Okay? And so what happens if that, just like everything else, gets normalized? Now these people won't have anything to stand on, because people will just say, oh, get over it. It's normal. It's okay now. It's okay now. Interesting. That seems to be the direction we're going, at least here in California. It's like every day you see somebody talking about, virtuous pedophiles or minor attracted persons, no longer pedophiles, but minor attracted persons. And now with the whole transgender thing that basically says children can now make decisions in regards to something absolutely life-changing, to have these radical chemicals introduced into their bodies and later radical surgeries, So we don't let kids buy alcohol. Absolutely not. We don't even let kids vote. We don't let kids buy AR-15s. I think that might actually be a little bit healthier than some of these transgender things. But we don't let them do that. We don't let them drive. So why now are we going to let them, without consent of their parents, make these radical literally life-altering decisions? And again, I know probably YouTube, and I may even get a strike on this video, who knows? But YouTube, it will probably try and start suspending or blocking or deleting some of these people that are transitioning. They're coming out with there's a lot of stories out there, folks, of these young people who got all caught up in the social media, and everybody was encouraging them to, get these surgeries, to transition. And so they now are regretting this life-altering decision that they cannot now undo. So, that's all I can say. Talk about trick or treat. I was talking to somebody today, and they didn't like what I said about Blair White. Blair White was having maybe several. I only just saw one. Blair White is a guy who did transition cosmetically to look like a female. And there are a lot of people that transition, and it's sad to say it's not a good look. Let's just put it that way. It's not a good look, okay? But this Blair White, I thought what their original name was. Maybe it was Blair. I don't know. But yeah, they are convincing for the most part. But I said at the end of the day, all Blair White is an example of a really excellent Halloween costume. Because that's all it is. It's all superficial. It's all cosmetic. And that's what Halloween's all about, really, when you think about it. It's dressing up. It's pretend. It's just that some people really get into Halloween, and they'll go all out and they'll spend thousands of dollars, for either their costume or their, haunted house. They literally pour in every year thousands of dollars, and some of these people, they really get into, they want, it's like cosplay, I guess. It's that you're taking it to the next level. You're taking it, it's trick or treat on steroids. And that's what transgenderism is really all about. And one person goes, well, if it makes them feel happy, what's your problem with that? I said, well, but it's not real. You know, it's just not real. And people are afraid to say, well, you know, what is a real woman? A woman is an adult human female that has the ability to bear live young, you know. And that's a definition. That's a true definition. And a lot of people go, I don't want to say that because I might offend somebody, you know. You know, again, remember when you were a kid and you used to pretend, you know, kids, and it's so funny, little kids, sometimes they pretend they were dinosaurs. I don't know if I ever pretended I was a dinosaur. Let's see, I did Cowboys and Indians, did Army Man. Let's see, what else did I, oh, space, oh, astronaut. Those were, I think, the three things that I did. Cops and robbers, not so much. You know, that's kind of an interesting thing. Why not cops and robbers? Because I just, you know, I mean, but Cowboys and Indians, yeah, that was kind of, got a little hair there, right there. All the gray hairs in my face. But remember Army Man, Cowboys and Indians, but mostly, because I grew up as I was like maybe, what, between 9 and 12 or 13 when the Apollo missions were going up, you know. And so astronaut, yeah, that was, man, I wanted to be an astronaut. And even later in life, you know, when I was in the military, you know, they were, every now and then you'd see, and of course I knew that there was no way, but, you know, you kind of sometimes you'd think and dream and go, maybe I could be the first chaplain in space, you know. I mean, why not, you know? But obviously that's not going to happen, didn't happen. Anyway, so, but that's, I think that's the reality of where we're going. And, you know, sad to say, you know, well, it's like I said, it's the ultimate, transgenderism is the ultimate in Halloween costumes. Oh boy, yeah, sorry to say that, folks. And if I hurt your feelings, I didn't mean to, but maybe it's a reality check, okay? So, kind of leads me on to maybe talking a little bit about trick-or-treating and just some of the memories that I have. I mean, everybody's got their own trick-or-treat stories. Now, I don't have anything scary, really. But I do remember, I guess, when I was growing up, it was kind of like one of my favorite holidays. I guess it is for most kids. And I just remember even having dreams about, you know, waking up early, you know, like 4 or 5 in the morning on Halloween Day, and I was just so excited about Halloween, you know. And let's see, we had pretty good trick-or-treating, you know. I never got any, you know, needles in the Tootsie Rolls or any weird kind of candy. You know, there were no razor blades in the apples or anything like that. Nothing like that at all. Actually, I just remember we had a lot of good candy treats, you know. And I think the ones that, okay, one of the things that I liked, now sometimes people would give you homemade things. Now, nowadays, you probably wouldn't even, you would just think, oh, I'm throwing that out right away, you know. Could be something bad in that. But the Halloween treat that I really liked that was a homemade were those caramel popcorn balls. I don't know if you remember those or if you had those when you were growing up. And they were homemade, you know, people would make these caramel popcorn balls. And I just loved those. Those were, yeah. Now, nowadays I think about that, my stomach kind of goes, oh no. You know, old diverticulitis probably wouldn't handle it too well. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Talk about tricks. You know, something I would not want to take a chance on anymore, you know. But as far as the tricks go, now did I do any mischievous kinds of things when I was a kid about Halloween time? I don't remember like egging houses or doing TP or the little bag of dog poo-poo and you light it on fire on their porch. I never did any of those things. I mean, I think I was just more of a kind of a boring kid. It's kind of like Charlie Brown. Literally, I was kind of a Charlie Brown kind of a kid. I always felt like if I got nice candy, I was happy. I wasn't like looking for anything other than just, having fun. I liked the costumes. I loved the masks. I was into masks. I had a Frankenstein mask one year, and oh gosh, I think I had an old man mask once, and now I don't need the mask anymore. I already am an old man. There we go. Talk about Halloween costumes. Huh? I got a permanent one here. It's the real deal. Yeah, trick or treat. Yeah, I remember basically that I really thought the mask thing was the coolest. I wanted the most realistic that I could find as a kid kind of a mask. And I remember I remember the Frankenstein mask really well. I think I had a mummy mask once. Because I was into the monster thing when I was a little kid. When I got it more into kind of like junior high and high school and early teenage years, I really got into Famous Monsters of Filmland and Eerie and Creepy magazine, and those kind of dark comic books. They were just, the drawings were cool, the stories were really fascinating. I thought, they were just wow. So kind of Halloween was something I was kind of into, kind of year round. I mean, not every day I was focusing on Halloween, but those kinds of things, And then I remember, of course, discovering, Creature Features with the late great Bob Wilkins. God bless Bob Wilkins, great Sacramento legend. Really loved that old guy. Keep America strong, support horror movies, that type of thing. And him and his big cigars, him and his big old cigars. I love Bob Wilkins. So, but Halloween, I guess, was just one of those kid holidays that I think you kind of lived for about, especially, around September, when things were starting to change in the fall. It was coming on, and and all those kinds of things, and you would Halloween, and it would just get, the anticipation would build every day, and you look out a couple of nights before Halloween, you go, oh, in a few more nights we get to go trick-or-treating, what fun, but I guess nowadays, pipe pals, I guess they really don't encourage the trick-or-treating. Now, I have a big bowl of candy every year, and I don't think I've had maybe one or two or three kids in the last 5-6 years that came to the door. And it's kind of sad because, I guess parents are afraid that the kids might get something really dangerous, Maybe they get some kind of poison, or somebody, pulls them into their house and without somebody looking, and the kid's gone, I mean, there is a lot of real scary stuff out there nowadays. I mean, and when we were growing up, when I was growing up, the slasher movies hadn't come on yet. Now, of course, I lived through as a kid, the Manson family, and I guess, some of the more notorious people, because I think I was more in my late teens and early 20s when people like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and all those creeps were doing their thing, but I do remember, this is kind of a little bit of a creepy thing, and it's real too. I mean, I can't say I remember actually having an encounter with this person, but I think I actually did. But it was, okay, when I was growing up, and I think it was like maybe 10 or 11, we called him the East Area Rapist here in Sacramento. And then I guess he moved down to, Central Coast and then Southern California. Anyway, and he started murdering and raping people anyway. But this guy, they finally found him, as you probably know, and I forgot his name. I mean, I remember his name if I heard it, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't need to be remembered. But anyway, but he was a police officer in Auburn. I was born and raised in Auburn, and there were a couple of times when I was just a jerk. I was a brat, and I remember having to go to the police station, and and talk to a policeman. I remember that. I remember a couple of times, you know, when I had a bad temper or I was upset and angry, and I remember that. I remember the guy when they showed his picture, and they said his name, and I said, I think I remember. I remember the guys. I remember him. I don't know if I actually talked to him as a kid, because I remember, like I said, I had to go to the Auburn police station and I had to sit down, and they were going to like kind of lecture me, like, you gotta, can't be acting like that, you're going to get yourself in trouble later on and you're going to go to jail. But I vaguely remember that he might have been one of those officers that had to give me that lecture, just saying, because when I saw his face and I heard his name, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember the guy being a police officer in Auburn. That I remember clearly. But the only reason why I would remember that is because, like I said, I was Pipe Pals. I was like a Dennis the Menace. I was like a Charlie. I know I said I'm like a Charlie Brown, but I was like a Dennis the Menace too. When I was a kid, I didn't do things. When I said I wasn't mischievous in trying to be malevolent and intentionally hurt people per se. But I did I did dumb things that I got that did. Okay, fortunately I didn't do horrible property damage, but I had a little pellet gun, and I remember, shooting at birds, and of course I wasn't a very good shot then. I hadn't had the benefit of the Marine Corps, marksmanship school. Later on I became a darn good shot. But fortunately, but I remember I was shooting at birds, and I wasn't thinking. Obviously, I wasn't thinking, and I fortunately I did not break this big plate glass window, but I put a nice little hole in the corner of the window, and because I was shooting at a bird, and I shouldn't have been, and but anyway, and then I remember one time I was playing around with a kid that I didn't like too much. And I was on my paper route, and somebody had taught me how to make little firecrackers out of those little caps that you put in little cap guns. The little pressed machine metal. Well, they weren't even machine metal; they were just pressed metal, and they were just put together. They were made in China or Japan, whatever. And they have a little roll of caps, and you go click, 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 and it go bing, 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 pop, pop, pop. Okay. So somebody in grade school taught me, hey, you can actually make a firecracker out of these things. And it was kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. So I made one or two of those. And this kid that I didn't like, his back bedroom apartment was on one of my paper routes. I had a couple of paper routes. So early in the morning, it was a Sunday morning, I'll never forget this. And I saw his bedroom window, and it was partly opened. One of these just sliders, And I thought, well, I'll get him. And I thought, well, I'll light one of these firecrackers on his window, and it'll, scare him, right? Sunday morning. Well, I lit it, and I scurried away, but I was in earshot, and unfortunately, I didn't quite hear it go off. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and going, wow, that's way beyond the time it should have gone off a long time ago. So I snuck back to see the bedroom window, and what did I see? Black smoke coming out of that bedroom. What had happened was it had exploded, but it had fallen inside, and right underneath the window was a laundry basket, and the laundry basket caught fire. I am so lucky that I did not burn down that whole apartment complex. And I remember going to the police officer, and I had my hands, I was like, okay, arrest me, officer, I'm guilty, I was like, 9 or 10, really, really dramatic kind of stuff. And the guy goes, did you set that fire? And I said, I didn't do it intentionally. And I said, anyway, so I remember I had to make some little restitution and everything like that. And I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just wanted to scare the guy, because he was a jerk, I thought. So again, but I wasn't thinking, like a lot of kids, when you're that age, you don't think things through. So anyway, it's kind of a little bit of a minor miracle that I'm not sitting in state prison right now, because I could have done some really I've done dumb things that I realized I shouldn't have done that. And so as a kid, didn't do any joyriding, didn't steal, I'm just trying to think. Did I ever steal? Well, when I was a little kid, I used to steal these little 10-cent toys from the grocery store. But my mom found out about that, and that came to an end real fast. Because I had a lot of fishy stories about, where did you get that toy? Well, I don't remember buying that for you. Oh, well, this kid was walking down the road and he had a whole bag of toys and he said, I don't need all these toys. Would you like one? I said, sure. Yeah, wasn't really the best storyteller either, you know. But basically, I'm just trying to think, you know, I mean, I know I did some dumb things, but again, they weren't like I'm going to really, my intention was to hurt somebody. That was never my intention, except for there's one bully in a class of mine, and he was a big guy, and he just liked picking on me. And for a long time, I'd kind of let him get away with it. And I was intimidated. I was scared. And talking about doing something dumb. At the time, I said, this is going to be dumb. This is going to be one of the dumbest things you've ever done. And he was running his mouth, and it was a rainy day, and we had these kind of like these bookcases, but the windows were recessed in them, and then the bookcases kind of came out, so you could sit on these bookcases in front of the windows. You weren't supposed to, but you could. And anyway, it was like one of these free periods where you could kind of draw, or, you know, whatever you want to do, write a story or get some homework done. And I was like trying to get some stuff done, and he was just, I'm going to beat you up, punk. I'm going to beat you up after school. I'm going to find you after school, and I'm going to punch you out, you know. And he just kept doing it. And I got really, really tired of it. And this guy was bigger than me. I mean, not fat and big, but he was tall. He was kind of a tall kid. So he had maybe 2 or 3 inches on me easy. And because he'd already started his growth spurt thing, but he was kind of intimidating. And he was just a mean kid. And I remember he was sitting there, and I was on the last row, and he was like kind of like off to my side there. And so anyway, he just kept at it and kept at it. And something said to me, well, you know what? Pretend you're going to go to the bathroom, and when you go by him, take a swing. And I thought, he's going to kick my butt after I do that. And it just was one of those few rare times. I wasn't the most coordinated kid in the world. Man, talk about coordination and just the perfect, right at the right moment, the right connection at the right. I clocked him right there, you know, boom. His head went flying back into the window, I think, and he hit his head, and his eyes bugged out, and he thought he could not believe that I did that. And I thought, okay, it's on. He's gonna come. He's coming after me. They're gonna tear us apart and send us to the principal's office or the vice principal's office. And all I remember is the funny thing was that he didn't do anything. He said a lot, "You little punk, I'm gonna get you for that." Never saw him ever again. That was the last time he ever. And so I got lucky on that one. But that was another dumb kid thing. I thought, you know what? I shouldn't do this because I'm going to get beat up for this big time. But I thought, I'm just so tired of this. I'm just so tired of this. Oh, gosh. I can't think the things that I remember doing that weren't necessarily bad things, but they were, again, kind of taking advantage of things. Like, I don't think anybody remembers Gulf service stations, gas stations. But the Gulf service stations during the moon landing, I think it was Apollo 11, they were handing out these, you could only get one, but they were this a big kind of like cardboard sheet, and it had like this lunar lander, and you'd punch it out and you would fold it and it would make a cardboard lunar lander, and it was really cool. I mean, it was free, and it was just the most awesome thing. So me and my friends, what we started doing was we started kind of like it's corny, you think about it now. You should, most of those people probably knew exactly what we were doing, but you were only supposed to get one because I guess they were limited. And so me and my friends, what we would do is we would go get one, we'd go back and put on another kind of, different kind of clothes, maybe put on glasses or something and go get another one. And then we'd go back a third and fourth time. And I think the fourth time, I think they finally realized, hey, you've been here before. You only get one. But then I had my other friends, and so we kind of pooled together, and we kind of finagled the system. We got a whole bunch of those, and that was kind of cool. So we love those lunar lander things. But that's kind of the kid things that we did back when I was growing up. And nowadays, I guess kids are just always on their phone or their tablet, and maybe they're watching, TikTok or Netflix. I don't know. But when I was growing up, you had to be creative. You just had to be creative. And we did later on when I was in high school. We started making haunted houses, and they were really hokey, but they were fun, and making scary sounds and playing scary music through the little speaker underneath the step, and they'd step on it, and and then we had a little microphone and you could talk through it. I mean, just all that stuff that was just kid stuff growing up when I was a kid. And a lot of it was it was all harmless, most of it. Except for that one thing that caused the fire, that was not harmless, I know that. But still, there was no malicious intent other than, just to scare a kid. That was and he was I wouldn't say he was a bully, but he was a jerk. And I'm not saying he had it coming to him, and I'm glad it happened, nothing like that. It's just that kids do dumb things, and unfortunately, I guess now kids do dumb things, and instead of it, being like, break a window. Yeah, I do remember one time I was playing softball in the street. And like I said, I was never really an athletic kid because I was never on teams. But every now and then, I'd get if I was playing basketball or softball, I'd get lucky and I'd make a good connection. And unfortunately, it was always followed up by something disastrous. And one of those days I was in the street playing softball, and it connected. And I watched that thing sail right into somebody's plate glass window. That was not good. And all the kids ran away, and I'm standing there, and the lady comes out. She was obviously furious, and I fessed up to it. I didn't lie. I just said, I'm very sorry. I broke your window. I'll try to pay it back. But anyway, those are kid things that that maybe some of you remember with some fondness. I don't know, but. I think things are kind of different. Another thing, too, is riding around. I was talking to some people the other day. And little kids, when we were kids, you could go for a ride in the back of a pickup truck. I remember summer days going for rides in the back of pickup trucks. Just the coolest thing in the world. Can't do that anymore. Nope. And I remember it wasn't just sitting down in the bed, but even sitting on top of the rail there, and sometimes even with the tailgate down and just driving around, didn't think anything of it. But those days are gone, my pals. Yep. One of my other, and I'll close with this. One of my other fond kid memories was. Was when my brother would come home, and he was like 19, 20 years younger than me. And he'd come home with his pipe, and he was coming back from college. He was a college man, and he'd have a pouch of Borkum Riff, or mostly I think he was more of a sale pipe tobacco. Maybe Amphora. I remember those three primarily. And I remember going in when he wasn't looking and opening up that tobacco pouch and taking a deep breath of that. Oh man, I just thought that was the most heavenly fragrance in the whole world, And that was probably the reason why I was attracted to pipe smoking in my earlier, adulthood, because my brother did. And I always saw it as a positive thing, nothing negative. But anyway, so there you have it, Pipe Pals. I guess just go ahead and wrap her on up for this Halloween 2022. Hope you're having a wonderful Halloween wherever you are and enjoying a nice Halloween pipe or autumnal pipe or October pipe or whatever kind of pipe it is there, Pilgrim. And as I like to say, and I'll say it one more time as I close this video, light up your world and light up your pipe. We'll see you in the next one. Happy Halloween.